Okay.
It's over here.
And then I'm going to talk about, somebody asked me questions about what we've learned about this project. So here we are. So, good morning, everybody. This is Jean here, Jean Truelove from Truelove Quilts for You. As you can see, I have my friend Jen here.
Hi, everyone.
And we are working on our one block wonder. If you've just tuned in, I have a playlist with this quilt, this one block wonder kaleidoscope quilt. I've done many videos about it, and ages ago when you came, you showed me your panel. This is a one block wonder
and
with
my
a
triangle.
panel and your triangle. Jen forgot to bring her triangle template.
Yeah.
But that is significant to how Jen's quilt has turned out. I have not seen Jen's quilt. I've not even finished my quilt. If you've been following, you know that I've taken a long time, step by step by step. It's upstairs. I'm working on it. I'm not going to show it because I'll show that in another video when I'm finished, but we're going to be seeing Jen's quilt today.
Yeah, I'm finished.
So she's finished. So
and I love it.
So what have you learned from this whole process?
Use a smaller triangle.
When Jen came,
8-inch triangle.
she pulled out an 8-inch triangle.
Yeah.
And I did say,
you said your blocks are going to be big.
your blocks are going to be big, Jen.
And I thought, oh, that's cool. I don't like little stuff. But I didn't know you meant like massively big.
Okay,
like bigger than my head
let
big.
us see this quilt. So walk us through the process.
All right, so
You
if
got
you've
your
been
panel.
watching Jean's videos, she's putting her blocks like all around her panel, and it looks so pretty because she's coordinating like how it matches the block, and I love that, and that's what I wanted to do. I couldn't do it.
Oh.
I couldn't do it at all. The blocks were like this big. So even to put a couple around it, and my panel was so big, it wasn't looking right. It wasn't looking kaleidoscopy because I could really only put like 1 or 2 around.
You did miles too big of blocks.
So I had an epiphany as I was putting this together. I thought, I have so many of these blocks, and I didn't know what fabric I was going to use for the back. I said, I'm going to make the whole back the kaleidoscope, and I'm going to use my single panel on the front and do borders around it.
Oh.
Because I just couldn't, in my head, I couldn't make it work.
Okay.
So the back is the kaleidoscope.
The back is the kaleidoscope.
And the front is the panel. So if you were ding dong like me and used a big triangle, this is maybe how you want to do it. This is the biggest quilt I've ever made because I usually make lap quilts.
Make lap quilts.
Yeah. So you want to see the front or the back first?
I want to see the back.
Okay.
Because that's the whole kaleidoscope thing.
Kaleidoscope. So this is the back.
Oh, Jen. Oh, it is.
Isn't it pretty?
It is so pretty. Oh, it's beautiful.
So the coolest part, I think, is that these are letters, these blocks.
Yeah.
This is an I, that was a D, that was an
Okay,
A.
first of all, turn it around and let's see what you were working with.
So
okay.
this is my original panel.
So this is Jen. Okay, so this is Jen's huge panel.
Yes.
I was working with a panel that was 14 inches by 21 inches, a quarter of this.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say my panel was a quarter of this.
The black was massive, yeah.
Well, only because you used your massively huge triangle. If you had cut, say 4-inch strips and 4-inch triangles,
I would have had 100 blocks.
You would have had about maybe 150. Like you would have had a lot of small kaleidoscope quilt blocks.
Which would have looked beautiful.
Yeah, it would have.
It really would have.
It would have been pretty. So you really learned.
I did.
Yeah, you
I
learned.
would like to do it again, perhaps.
You would.
And try
it with a smaller.
Yeah.
Now, this is just beautiful.
But I do love it.
Beautiful. Now, did you have to go and buy the...
I had all this stuff in my
reserve.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So this is funny. I watched your last video, and you said about the white strip, and I already had the white strip here, and I was like,
great
I thought the same thing. I did. And this is cream.
Yes, because there's no white in it.
There's no white
in it. And I always say a little tiny bit of white or whatever color to make that pop. You could have made it, you could have done like the orange.
Right.
If you had had
I didn't have
but
orange.
You didn't have it. Yeah.
So I did a strip of white, then this is my border, this is my border.
And I love the quilting pattern. So where did that come from? That's all. Is it rocks?
It's
or
the block. I quilted this is the front.
Oh.
So what I did was I quilted the triangles and I cut off my corners and then made this like a center. So each kaleidoscope, I would go up, around, cut my corners, come back up, around, and it made the prettiest
pattern
on the front. It almost looks like flowers or something.
It's beautiful. I almost see rocks.
Okay.
You know, like pebbles from like the national park.
Yeah.
For a second, that's what I thought.
Totally.
Because it's totally symmetric. I mean, it's
and you can see like
you can see the quilting. Now let's go real quick. Let's go.
The quilting's not. This is my first quilt of 2020. The winter of 2022.
Look at that.
So, like, I got a
Jen,
little.
that's all right. No, it's beautiful. Oh, so this is for your bed.
So, funny story. I've been quilting now for a couple years.
Yes.
And every time
Who taught you how to quilt?
My friend Jean Truelove.
Truelove Quilts for you?
Truelove Quilts for you. So, you can watch the other videos from years ago of how I learned to quilt on her channel.
Of your first quilt.
Yeah. And then how I've progressed.
She's gotten so much about
through the
You're
years.
like a professional now.
But every time I make a quilt, I say to my husband, "Oh, here, you have a quilt you can lay with now." And he always goes, "Your quilts are too small. My feet stick out."
Because your husband is 6'2".
He's 6'2". So when I made this massive quilt, I go, "Now this is the quilt I made for you." And he goes, "Oh, I can take a nap and my feet won't stick out." So we're calling this Ben's napping quilt.
This is Ben's quilt. I love the kaleidoscope.
I do. I think they're so pretty.
Even though they're huge, and it's not supposed to be like that, it ended up like a kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful quilt.
It's still the effect.
So is the effect.
Honestly,
this one is awesome.
Which one?
National.
Oh, this
I
one?
love that.
I wasn't getting the kaleidoscope effect when I only had a few around the front panel. And that's when I thought, I want to see them all together.
That's the whole point of a kaleidoscope quilt.
Yeah.
You see them all together and this explosion of color.
And then I laid it out similar, if you look at the panel on the front, like this is the top panel, this is the middle, and then that's the bottom. But I love like the whale tail.
It's so beautiful.
Oh, the lighthouse one.
Yes, it is
and then
so pretty.
This was like the sailboat.
Okay.
And it just made cool designs like snowflakes.
This is awesome.
And I thought the letters would be stupid, but they're some of my favorite.
They are awesome.
That's an A.
Yes, look at it. It's fantastic.
And this is a D and an I. This is an I.
It is so pretty. It really, really is beautiful.
Thank you for teaching me.
Oh, I love it. And I've really learned about the size of the triangle. By mistake.
Yeah.
By mistake.
Yeah.
Because when Jen pulled out her triangle, I did think, well, obviously the triangle you can cut it down.
I could have, yes, but
why did you not? Because my whole point was, I think the standard is like you cut your strips and then your triangles at 3.5, 3.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. 4 maybe.
Mine were 8 inches.
8 inches. So your blocks literally turned out this big.
And in my head, I was thinking, I had read about and I'm not good when there's a bunch of seams coming together.
Okay.
I'm still no Jean Truelove. She's been quilting for so many years, has made hundreds of quilts. So I feel like I'm still learning, even though I've been doing it for a couple years. And I thought, well, bigger might be easier for me.
Right.
But I was thinking this big. I don't know why in my head I didn't think it was going to be this.
No, big. Your blocks were that big.
They were bigger than my head.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So they're 14 inches across.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 14 inches. Yeah, they're very, very big. But it's turned out.
But the mistake, I loved how it turned out.
It's turned out. Yeah. By mistake, it is absolutely so very, very pretty.
It. And now there's another panel. So this is Acadia National Park, which we went there in summer.
That's why you chose this.
And we've been to Yellowstone, and there's a pretty bunch of Yellowstone panels. I'm like, I'd like to get one of the Yellowstone ones and try it again the other way.
Smaller ones.
Smaller.
And then so you can, the Yellowstone is exactly the same size. So this is about 36 by 44 inches.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, it's a big panel. Like I said, that's 4 of mine.
Yeah.
So again, mine's a small wall hanging, and this is a very, very, very large quilt.
And I don't know if you watch Jean regularly, this little fabric here, this is an ode to my giraffe quilt. This was the background.
Oh, yes. Oh, it is.
I think it's so funny now because I'm getting a little stash of when I make a quilt and there's leftovers. And I'm like, oh, this was from
Yes.
this quilt, and this is from that quilt.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I remember what fabric went to what.
Cool. It's awesome, Jen.
So, thank
It's
you.
so beautiful.
Thank you for the
Very
idea and the inspiration
Beautiful.
video.
Say some stuff what I have learned. That's what this whole point is for the One Block Wonder Kaleidoscope Quilt. I did get an interesting comment from an L.M. Rolf, R-O-H-L-F. I don't know who you are, but you comment so nicely on all my videos. And it says, Jean, I hope you see this question. Before you wrap up this project, could you please give your thoughts to the characteristics of a panel or a fabric? As I understand, the One Block Wonder can also be done with certain fabrics that would lend itself to a good finished One Block Wonder quilt. Also, do you think a more subtly colored panel or one with a more solid background would also work? My guess it would give the eyes more places to rest, as there would be more hexes that would be neutral. And if you would do this project again, would you use the same panel? If not, what fabric would you choose, and or would you do it differently? I really enjoyed seeing you quilt again. So I have pulled out a couple of things that I'm thinking of, and I'm a total novice at this. I've never made one before, but what I've sort of learned. I think the smaller the print, the worse.
Okay.
Because, now this is two sort of examples I have. This is a little print, just a little floral print. And this is just more of a small to medium size print. I would think that all of that work that you're doing would just sort of end up looking like that fabric. Because it's too small a print.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, and I've learned that if you're using a regular fabric, you want a larger print. So, and also I think the thing that I've learned most of it, if you love the fabric,
yeah,
you're going to love your quilt.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But like really love it. Like
Yeah.
because you really have to love the fabric, and the colorways is so important, because obviously that sounds like duh, of course you're going to love it, but you really have to really love it, because you're not going to have any other fabrics. Like you've added things on your front, but this is just your fabric on your kaleidoscope.
And even when I added, I kept pretty neutral, because I did love
exactly
the blocks.
Exactly
How they turned out.
So like this would be, I'm not sure if this would be a good kaleidoscope fabric.
It already looks like a kaleidoscope.
Because it already looks like a kaleidoscope. And so when I first started this project, I'm like, do I really keep saying, do I really like this project? Because it's a very, very busy project.
Yeah.
But I do think that a more like maybe just one or two colors on a pattern would be better. So now this is a larger pattern fabric, but it's basically two colors. It's basically pale blue and dark blue, or medium blue. Mm-hmm. So that might work out better.
Yeah.
As opposed to, say, this one, which I love, which is a huge print, but it has at least 3, 4, or 5 different colors. It's a beautiful print, but it like you might just see a bit of all pink, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But I think at the end of the day, it's if you really love your fabric. But again, I think the biggest thing is that you have to choose a larger print. Now, I was thinking, or even 2 colors, just a 2-color, if you want like a 2-color print. Yeah. So I was looking at this is like a border print. Now, I love stripes and I love a border, but when you would, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe if you cut the stripes in triangles, when you put them in, they could look maybe like you've done it wrong. Like you've pieced it wrong. Yeah. Like if it maybe looked joggled, like a stripe wouldn't work that well, although this is pretty. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So again, a striped fabric wouldn't work as well. Now, I love this panel here, and it's huge, like you have. I love this panel because my spirit animal is a cow. I love this.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, isn't that pretty? I love this panel, this beautiful cow, but it's huge, and I wouldn't necessarily make this into a kaleidoscope quilt, even though it just has basically 3 colors, white, black, and red, or dark maroon.
That's beautiful.
I think it would look too muddy. Even though it has the white,
Yeah.
I think it would look muddy and or this splash of white. It's a bit too stark. It's a bit too stark, even though I like the cream, like you said.
Yeah.
So if you have a completely dark fabric,
And the busier your panel, the more variety of
exactly
different kaleidoscopes you're going to get.
Now I think this panel, if I would use a panel, I think that panel would turn out beautifully in a kaleidoscope, even though it has a lot of colors.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you have enough lightness.
Yeah.
That's what I think. The cow has too much lightness.
I agree.
And it would look like patchy.
Yeah.
So I think this is a lovely blend of the colors, even though there's quite a few colors in there. So these are just the few things I think I've learned. So this is a fabric I have, which is basically 3 colors. The Paris, which is pink, white, and black. Now that might work, but then again, you'll see a tremendous amount of white. Which, if you like that, which I quite like.
Yeah.
And then just bits of pink and black. So again, I just really think that if you like the fabric, this is a beautiful floral, basically 3 colors, the red, the pink, and the green. If you like your fabric colors, you're going to love your quilt.
Yeah.
And again, that sounds like, Captain Obvious here, but I think it really makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Because somebody did say, oh, I chose fabric and I didn't like the quilt. And I'm thinking, oh, well, you must not have loved the fabric that you bought.
Yeah.
Because that's all you're going to end up. Mind you, you added your borders on the front because of a mistake.
Right.
But it wasn't. It ended up lovely. But if you do yours again, you have your same size.
Yeah.
And then
I don't mind a bigger panel, but I'll make the triangle smaller.
Right. So, and then you had your triangle, you were saying, didn't have the cutoff. So you had to be very careful.
Yes.
Marking the center.
Yeah.
Did you get confused at all?
On one block I did.
Yeah.
And it didn't make it in.
Yeah.
I just was like,
So
I had extra.
How many blocks did you end up having?
I used, I think, 30, and I had 30.
You had 30. You made
I had 30. But I had some I didn't even make because I knew I had way enough.
Right.
And I think I didn't use, I don't know, 4 of them.
Okay.
And I had some I never even made. Like, I still have the triangle.
You still have the triangle. Oh,
yeah.
my, you would have had like...
Yeah, I probably would have had 50.
50.
But I noticed what I thought
So
I was going to like.
So pretty.
I was worried about the letters, and I loved the way the letters came out. Because I thought, the letters are going to my least favorite are actually the super dark ones at the bottom.
No.
But I still like them.
I think they're awesome.
I just like them in this order.
Yes.
Like, I like these.
The lighter down to the dark.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I loved how that whale tail came out.
Oh, it's beautiful. The kaleidoscope it's fabulous.
It's cool.
Isn't it? It is so
cool.
It is so cool. But the next time, how did you actually mark your center? Did you get a little bit confused with the center?
I just
because you just had you had a pin.
When I pinned right at the center point.
Okay.
So as I took them off, I'm like, okay, that's my center.
I
didn't chain piece either.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
You just had to do one.
It was because my brain.
Yes.
I just was like, I did one block at a time, and they were so big. I'm like, I'm trying to not sit as much, so I was getting up to iron, sitting back down, like just to get steps in.
Yeah,
and moving
exactly.
And, So it was. I liked it though. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved watching how the blocks came together.
I know that's the whole thing is that you had to flesh it out with a little bit of your stash fabric, but the 7 panels or I think it's like 6 yards or 5 or 6 yards.
Like I could have not used it, but I just decided. That's.
I think it's 5 or 6 yards that you need and stuff. I've not done the whole fabric thing, but they're talking about the repeat. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
I think that's when you use, because I did watch one other.
Because there's lots of videos.
I watched one other video that was a poinsettia pattern, and it wasn't a panel.
Right.
It was a fabric, and they were talking about the repeat when it's plain fabric, not the panel.
Now, what does that mean? What
so
is
you know when you have
like a wallpaper? No, I know that.
Yeah. So like fabric's the same way it repeats. So they're saying if you don't have a panel, you can use your single piece of fabric before it repeats again, and that you can use that like as your panel.
Oh, okay.
So they had like poinsettias, and it was like a massive, 5 yards, and they just cut it before it repeated.
I see.
And that became the
panel. That
Yeah.
became the pieces that you out of yardage that you would put on top of each other.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it means then, because I've never done this with fabric.
Yeah.
With
No.
fabric. I've just done it with the panel.
I think I like it with the panel.
I like it with the panel. I think it's really nice. So you've learned not.
Go small.
Go small. My quilt's this big.
I'm gonna see it in person after this.
Jen's like is so huge, but yours is just beautiful.
And quilt, if you do end up with them on the back,
quilt
them backwards because they make such a pretty pattern on the front.
It's so lovely.
I just loved cutting the corners off and coming down and making almost like flowers.
Yeah.
Or
I think that I thought, how did you come up with that design?
Yeah. It's probably my favorite design that I've quilted.
Yes, yeah.
Because from the front, you don't know that I was just following the pattern.
No, that's what I said. I'm thinking, where did you come up with this quilting design?
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Now, what batting have you used?
So someone gave me this batting.
Oh, okay.
I didn't buy it, and it was called like Winter Extra Fluff batting.
Because it's fluffy.
It was so fluffy, but it made the things like puffy.
Exactly.
I really liked it.
So is it a polyester or is it a cotton?
I didn't
know.
I didn't look.
Because mostly, I think it's like a polyester. Because a poly.
I usually get cotton when I buy it.
Exactly, and it's flatter.
Yes.
Yes. So this is like a polyester batting.
Okay. It said for quilting because I was like, is this for quilting? It's so fluffy. And then I was like, I'm going to try it.
And it shows up the quilting stitches.
Yeah.
So pretty.
So I thought, I really like it.
Oh, that's awesome, Jen. Thank you so much.
Thank you for teaching me.
You're welcome. And I hope some of these hints and tips and what Jen has done, which is absolutely fabulous, have helped you with your One Block Wonder. I'm going to be finishing mine up. And then we'll go on to another project. Enough with this.
Ooh, what's next?
I know what's next. I have no idea.
You gotta
think of something.
We gotta think of something.
What should I do?
I don't know. We have to think about that.
Yeah, we'll have to think about that. Because I
think it's so fun to quilt along with somebody on YouTube.
It is.
Because and when you post a video, I see where you are at, and then I'm like,
did she finish? I haven't even finished mine.
It gives me incentive to quilt along.
I think yours was easier because your blocks were so big.
Oh, once I said they're all going on the back, it came together like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the hardest part is piecing.
I'm still that row thing. I had to literally step away from this project I don't know how many times because your brain got confused a bit. Yeah. It's not hard. It's not a beginner's project.
Definitely not.
No, it's definitely not a beginner's. I always say I like to do beginner's projects, but we both challenged ourselves, and boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I liked doing something different.
Yeah, it turned out super. All right, folks, thank you so much for following, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.